Hello everybody. Starting early today, trying to get this one done in 2 classes. Oh, I thought Coco was going to bark some more. So we'll give it about 5 minutes for people to sneak in, and then we are going to get started almost right away. We have a lot to get through today. Oops. There we go. So give me a shout out if you're there. We're going to get started by 5 after. Hello Rhonda, can you hear me okay? Hi Karen, how are you? Now Rhonda and Karen, are you sewing along with me today? How's my sound? Hearing is good? Okay, perfect. Just cleaning up my desk here. I've been busy today. Well, besides the nap I took this afternoon. But yes, you are? Okay, cool. Everything is interfaced. The only interfacing I don't have on my pieces is my fleece. So we are going to be working the lining and the exterior side by side today as they go together the exact same way. And because I don't want us to have homework, because I'm hoping we will get through the whole bag today. Thank you again, everybody, for understanding last week about having to cancel that class due to my grandmother's passing. Rhonda, you're sewing when we get to the lining? Okay. So we will be, have you finished your lining panels, Rhonda? So again, for my lining panels, I am doing a zipper pocket and then the slip pocket as per the pattern. I am not doing the many slip pockets that it has. And I will be closing the bag up through the pocket in the bag. Just like I did in the tutorial. So yes, I will be doing the zipper overlay pocket with you guys because I'm hoping to get through the whole thing. If we don't get through it all over the next 3 hours, what we'll do is we'll re-meet again on Thursday, seeing as we finished the Thursday class early last week. So perfect. So we'll get started in 3 minutes. To get prepared, we will be starting with step 1. So we're following the pattern here. So we will be just working on the pocket, and we will also be doing the lining at the exact same time. I'm not doing the snap in this pocket. I'm actually right where that snap goes going to put my nameplate. I found that we didn't really need a snap there. It stays pretty tight and closed, so I thought it was just more perfect to have the nameplate there. Perfect. I know Diane is going to be late, but she will be here. She's actually finished the bag already. And because we are a little bit earlier, we might not get everybody in here till 4, but that's okay. At least I have you guys to sew along with. Was there any questions about interfacing before we got started? So this is a pretty fast, easy sew. It's a fun and satisfying sew, that's for sure. It's funny, we've been hot all day and suddenly we have a wind and a rainstorm happening. The weather has been so bizarre this year. But we're still like 28 degrees. So it's warm. Alrighty. Put this down here. So we're going to need, it's almost 5 after now. I guess we will get started. Let me put this 2 table down. There we go. So you're going to need your 2 welt pieces. Let's just pull out all the pieces we are going to need right away. Oh, look at that. Do you know what I didn't do? I didn't fuse my interfacing. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. How did I manage to not do that? I cut it all today, but I did not fuse it. How bizarre. Okay, so I apologize. I'm going to have to take a couple minutes to do my interfacing. I did 3 projects today in interfacing, and for some reason, I did not do this one. Oh my gosh, I am failing already. So let me just grab my stuff. It'll take 2 seconds to get it done. You guys can watch me do it. Yeah, all the projects behind me I got done, but not this one. So bizarre. I don't know what's on my mind. Gives a few more time to get in, I guess. Wow, Brandy. Oh my gosh. I swear, my mind is still probably not 100% here, but let's quickly get these done. Wow. Okay. I'll just let this heat up. So, I apologize. I totally cut all of this out today and didn't fuse it. I don't believe it. But it shouldn't take too long. I fail. Okay, so I got that piece. Okay, those are my 2 exterior ones. Oh my gosh. Crazy. Okay, give me 2 seconds to get this done. And now you guys can watch how I fuse it. I like to use Best Press Clean Starch. So this is really like a start to finish type class, but it shouldn't take long. My gosh. And I totally, the last hour, took a nap because I thought I had all of my fusing done, but somehow missed this one. The most important one. Come on, fuse on. Of course, now I'm not using my big iron because I don't want to have my back to you guys. So I'm using my old iron. So funny. I fused 4 different projects today and somehow missed this. And I'm almost out of water. But it should only take about 10 minutes. We're good. So for my 2 exterior pocket pieces, I am using EB Fuse Medium on the back. So this is one of my pieces here. So I'm going to put that aside because we're going to need that. And is that one medium? Yes, it is. And I'm using a lining one for the back of the pocket as well. So I will back this one with EB Fuse Medium as well. So I cut it all. Oh my gosh. I am so mad at myself right now. Karen, you have all your interfacing on already, or are you interfacing with me? Rhonda, maybe go grab a coffee or a tea or something. Okay. So as we come across them, we're going to leave out all these pieces here for that slip pocket because we're going to be working with them right away. And I always spray down with some starch first to get the wrinkles out. Then I take my medium woven. Yes, except fleece. Okay, I apologize. This won't take long. And then I spritz it with water. I've actually never done a class on how to interface, so I guess this kind of will add in as I go in fast motion. I don't believe I did that. Man, oh man. We'll put all those pieces aside for now. Let's get through. Thankfully, there aren't too many pieces to do. Okay, and for my exterior pieces, I'm using EB Fuse Medium again. But you can use SF101. And we will attach the fleece later. You could attach the fleece to this back piece right now if you wanted to, but I'm just going to do it all at once. Once we have that front panel done and figured out. Okay. I fail. But I can tell you, I sure like my industrial iron more than this one. A little bit more or something there. So how was everybody's weeks? What other projects are you guys working on while I finish doing this? Okay, that can go aside. It has still been quite a week. We are in the process of planning my grandmother's celebration of life, so it's still been a rather emotional week. I thought I was good, but obviously I'm still a little not quite myself yet, as I didn't interface this bag. I could have sworn I did. Obviously did not. I'm glad I had the interfacing cut out. I think this iron is on its last legs. Okay, we're sticking good now. This with the exterior piece. Next. These are my channels. What's under here? So I'll have to trim my excess interfacing out as I go. So I am rushing through this right now. Okay, sounds good, Rhonda. We'll be starting here. I only got a couple more pieces to go. I apologize, you guys. Okay, those are done. The table's a little mad at me because I'm doing heat on here. You didn't interface the channel? You don't have to interface the channel. I did mainly because I didn't want my machine to eat it because of the industrial. It might not have eaten it, but... Well, look, I'm far behind, so it's all good. I don't believe I cut the interfacing out of this one and then didn't do it. I wish I had my other mat to put under here, but I don't. Okay, so I got to make sure I don't mix up my exterior interfacing because I'm using something just a little bit thicker for these. Karen, what did you end up using for your interfacing? This over a little bit. Look at that. It's not liking that heat at all. This is probably not super great for this. I can move it down. It'll be fine. Can you stick in there? I think so. Nice. So pretty much the same stuff I'm using. Great. Almost done. Oh my gosh. It's kind of like one of those moments when you're in high school and you get to work or get to school and realize you haven't tested and you haven't studied. That's how I'm feeling right now. Obviously just had a brain fart when I cut this out today and then didn't fuse it. That's crazy. And my two linings. But the bag goes together fast, so I'm not worried. But I will use my other iron when I come to do the fleece because my table is popping up. Because it is just better for fleece than this iron is. It's funny, my table has never done this before when I've had heat on it. Just warping it a little bit, I can make it go back down. Okay. Like I said, and if we don't get through all of this today, we will meet up again on Thursday and finish it off. But I think we'll still get through it all. Even with this little hiccup. What do I got left? Almost done. Anybody else pop in there yet, or is it still just Karen, Rhonda, and I? If you're in there, please do say hello. Just have to fuse these last two pieces, and then we will be getting started. You can tell I'm rather messy with my interfacing. That's why I always have to cut it out, because I always cut my pieces slightly bigger. Interfacing pieces, that is. It's done. Okay, so Karen, if you are going to be putting your nameplate in, you could have that ready to go because we'll be doing that shortly. I have all that here already. I made sure to have all my notions ready to go. I changed my thread, everything, and my needle, but nope, didn't fuse the interfacing. Okay, so that's done. Let me just move this iron out of the way. I'll be right back, and hopefully my table will go back down to its normal size. Plug in my other iron. All right. Who's ready to go? Are we ready to go? Come on, cool off. Like it's all bubbling up. That's okay. All right. So we are going to work these at the exact same time. Just cut my interfacing out of the way. Are we ready? So if I get going too fast, please do stop me if you have any questions. Otherwise, I'm just going to kind of mosey along. Okay, so make sure you separate your lining pieces, because especially if you're using different weight fabrics like me. So those are my linings. These two are my exteriors. Let me grab the bag and I'll show you what we're going to be working on. All right. So what we're working on right now is this center pocket here. There's one on the lining as well. So we're going to do them both at the same time. So what we want to do is we want to take our welts, which I'm doing in vinyl. And on the wrong side, we want to match or mark our centers. Rulers. So these were 3 inches. We want to make a 1.5 inch center line on both of them. And it's because we're going to do these at the same time and sew them at the same time. This is how I usually sew when I am when I'm making these without anybody, like showing anybody how to do it. So now what we want to take is our center front lower pieces. So that will be the part right here that you want to be the exterior of your pocket. So this is my exterior here. I'm going to put it right sides together along that top and clip that in place. And mine is going to look opposite because I am going to have this as my background piece. And I'm going to do the same on my lining piece. Okay, so there's my exterior. I'm going to take my lining pocket that I'm going to be doing and do the same thing. And then we're going to go across these tops of both of these with a 1/2 inch seam allowance. So Karen, stop me if I get it. Move that out of the way. Fix my camera again because I bumped it with my chair. There we go. So a 1/2 inch seam allowance. So now you guys know it takes about 15 minutes to interface the bag. It doesn't take long at all. Oopsies. And I'm going to chain stitch these just to make it a little faster. What did I just drop on the floor? Okay. Did we not flip back? So this is what we got so far. Now we want to take our not these ones, our pocket lining pieces. Is it these ones? Nope. Just gonna make sure I've got the right ones here. Pocket lining pieces are 7 by 9. That looks about right. Just to make sure I've grabbed the right pieces. 7. Nope. Make sure you grab the right pieces and not your zipper pocket pieces. Seven by 9. What are these ones again? I want to make sure I have the right ones. 7 by 6. I think I cut these ones too big, but that's okay. 7. I cut them 7 by 10 for some weird reason. I don't know. They'll still work. I might have been looking at the wrong size. I'm doing medium. Front pocket lining for meeting is 6.5 by 7.5. Seven. I'm wishing I labeled these by 10. What did I say needed? So make sure you got the right pieces. 6.5 by 7.5. 7.5. Okay, so it is these ones. So it's the shorter ones we cut out. So if you're doing the zipper pocket piece like I am, make sure you grab the right pieces. So it's the smaller of the ones we've cut out. Okay. And then what we want to do is take it with these ones. I'm going to use some double-sided tape here. You can go ahead and use some press it if you need to. I'm just going to put some double-sided tape along this seam here because we want to press this seam up. Ouch. Okay. And I'm just going to press it along there to press that seam upwards, like so. Just like that. And then we're going to take this, we're going to put it right sides together and put it along that top side. And same with this other one. So again, we're working on the lining and the exterior at the exact same time. I feel like I'm going to sneeze. Okay, and then we're going to sew across these with a 1/2 inch seam allowance. Okay. And I'm going to chain stitch them again. All right. All good? Whew, I'm hot all of a sudden. Okay. So So now on the exterior piece, now this is where you would decide if you were going to do that snap and install it on the wrong side of this as per the pattern. I am not doing that. So this is going to go up like so. And what I'm going to do, because I want to figure out where to place my nameplate. So on that line that we drew, I'm going to fold this in half on that line, right on that line, like so. And you're going to see this one side goes past. That is okay. And this is just so I can do the marking of my nameplate. And if you were doing the snap, you would do this to find the marking, but then you would put it, yeah, it would go through all of the layers, and you would have it backed with a heavy interfacing piece. But I'm not going to do that. I'm putting my nameplate here. So let's go ahead and install that nameplate. So this is about 3/4 of an inch, so I want it to be nice and centered. I need a bigger ruler. Up about 3/8 for my size of my thingy. This is 6.5 inches. So I want 3¼ inches is going to be my center. I'm going to draw a line. And that is going to be where I'm going to install my nameplate. And we are going to do that together today. Okay, so I got my washer. I can take this all apart now. Make sure you're using the exterior piece that you want to be using. Flip it all open. Make sure this is all up and out of the way. And right through there is where we're going to install this. One, two, three, 1, 2, 3. How are you doing, Karen? Making sense? I've been cold all day and now I'm just freezing. What the heck? Okay, I'm going to go in and put my nameplate there. Take my washer. Make sure that's nice and tight and straight. And when it looks good, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put a piece of duct tape there. Just installed your snap? Perfect. Okay, cool. So you did the snap. And no questions about the snap? Oh my goodness. we're both a hot mess today, aren't we? Oh my gosh. I still don't believe I forgot to interface. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I'm going to put my tape on the back there. Now for your snap, let me just double check if I didn't do the snap. Okay, you're not going to have to worry about the opposite side of the snap just yet. No, not yet. Okay, let me clean this up. Man, when I get flustered, I get flustered. Okay, so we got that in. So now we are on page 6. Now what we want to do again is fold right at that line. Again, just like we did before. And you'll notice this folded over edge will almost line up perfectly with our stitch line. Now this is going to hang over. That's okay. It's between the layers and it'll be held in place once we stitch it. So again, fold at that line we drew on the back, or just line up with your stitching. This fold here with the stitching on back. And I'm going to just use a bunch of clips in place. Along this top part, because we're not going to top stitch it. You see here, this one isn't top stitched. You could if you wanted to, I guess, but in the pattern it doesn't call for that. I'm going to do the same with this one. So push that up, Bring this down to that. Fold it over. So this is our lining one. I really should get a snap die. I still do all my snaps by hand. I have a grommet die and I never use it. I'm scared of it. I don't think I got the right size grommets for it, to be honest. I really should look into that. So, okay. Just clip along there. I have to clip along here just to make sure my vinyl's staying in place. Whew, I'm warm. My goodness. Okay. So that's what we got so far. Next, take your upper, where am I? Okay, now we're going to go ahead, and it says to stitch in the ditch right along here, underneath on this bottom piece. I'm just going to go in with an 1/8 of an inch seam allowance and stitch across there. I'm not good at stitching in the ditch, so, and it still looks okay. You can see here, see, I went with an 1/8 of an inch. So let's go ahead and do that. Yeah, I'm just going to go to the screen because I don't think we really need to see the over the shoulder for that. We will do this with both, and that'll hold those pieces in place. And I got just enough room that it doesn't interfere with my nameplate there, so that's good. The first one. Go ahead and do the next one. All right. Whew, warmth. Wow. So warm all of a sudden. Okay, so you can take these clips off now because we know that that top stitching is going to hold those in place. I'm going to clear this off a little because I'm getting a little messy over here. I am a messy sewist. I know it. You should see my floor. Okay, so this is where you would have done your snap, of course, if you're doing it. So it'll be through all the layers. Next, we want to take our upper center front panel pieces. So that is these ones. Again, I'm just double checking which is my exterior because I have slightly heavier exterior, which is my lining. And yes, this top exterior piece is going to be longer. Don't let that throw you off. That's what it's supposed to be. So we're going to take this piece we just did, we're going to flip this up, and we're going to take this lining, pocket lining piece and match it up with the bottom. Like so. So you're not sewing through this piece at all. We're only sewing through these ones. I'm also going to just put a couple clips on the side. Even though we're not sewing the sides just yet, we're only going to be sewing a 1/2 inch along this bottom. Did you lose any of your dies when they fell on the floor, Karen? Same with the lining one. Set it on top, flip this up, and line up that bottom. Just a couple clips on the side to hold it in place. Okay, and then again we're going to go across just these bottoms with a 1/2 inch seam allowance. No, thankfully, oh goodness. So that's closing up the bottom of this slip pocket. One. too. I got 2 half bobbins of this thread, so hopefully that's enough. I didn't want to wind another one because I thought that would be good enough. Okay, so this is what we got. So when you flip this down, see? Flip this down just like so. So if you were doing a snap here like you are, this is where you would install it on this piece here. So you want to make sure, normally what I do with a snap, like if the back part of the snap was here, I would use a little bit of air erasing pen and saturate it and then put it down like this and press it, and it'll give you the perfect mark for where you're going to punch that hole for the other side of your snap. Okay, now I can see I did not cut this one piece very good. I'm just going to kind of even it up. Okay. So once you get that snap in, have you done that snap yet, Karen? Installed it in there? Did you get that far? What we're going to do is we are going to match up our raw edges nice and straight and clip down. Yes, you just finished that. Perfect. Okay. You're fast. Look at you go. So clip down these sides on both. So again, we're working the lining and this exterior simultaneously. If we had made the classes in order, I would have done the exterior with you guys and had you do the lining for homework, but we are just doing it in one shebang. So I'm showing you how I sew. This is how I usually sew. I do things simultaneously and I take it all to the machine and sew it at once. So I hope that's okay with you guys. It's just the fastest way to get through this. And these go together identically, so. Okay, and then we're going to sew down these sides with 1/4 inch, what's it called? Baste. I'm doing this tight pocket on external, so I'm only doing one. Oh, look at you. Okay. That works too. Isn't it great how we can customize the bag to what we need and what we want? Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. Then when we get to the more, the harder sewing, I will show both cameras, but I think you guys see what I'm doing here. So 6 or baste at 1/4 inch. Just to hold all these layers together. This is the part that takes the most time. Back stitch. Oh, my machine is trying to eat my cotton because it's not super thick. The joys of an industrial machine and sewing with cottons that aren't interfaced with a heavy stabilizer. So. Okay, it's done. That side's done. Alrighty. Easy peasy. Whew, if I would stop hot flashing, I'd be ever so happy. Man, oh man. Okay, I'm going to trim all of my threads. And we have those center panels done so far. Now we're moving on to page 8. And we are going to grab our side panels. Now I gotta trim my interfacing out of these quickly. So please hold. It's only because I rough cut my interfacing, so it's never the exact size. Okay, and my lining pieces. Karen, are you going to be doing a zipper pocket like me on the lining? Yes? Okay, perfect. It gives such a nice seamless bottom, and I really like a zipper pocket inside. I think it was more beneficial than having all of the slip pockets, in my opinion. Okay, so we want to line these up. So this one is my lining piece. So I want to line these up so I don't mix them up. Same with these ones. Trim up my threads. Now what we want to do is put these right sides together. Now we're lining up this top, and you will notice the bottom is too long, and that is okay. We will be trimming that up later. And you're adding a slip pocket? Excellent. Again, it's so wonderful how we can customize our bags to however we want. That's what's so great about making our own bags. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to clip on all of the sides. I will make sure after that I will pull these out of the way before sewing on the opposite side so we don't maybe catch it in the sewing, but we're going to do this all at once. So again, it'll be longer on the bottom. Three. Do the same with the lining one. I believe these are with a 1/2 inch seam allowance as well. Yeah. Not used to working with a 1/2 inch seam allowance. That is a great seam allowance to work with when you first start bag making because it leaves so much room for error that way, where you can kind of manipulate the pieces. I'm just used to working with a 3/8. It seems that 9 times out of 10, it's a 3/8 seam allowance. So I always double check. Okay, and same with this side. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and we're going to sew down this side and then flip this out of the way and sew down this side with a 1/2 inch seam allowance. And I'm just going to double check something. Okay, for both of them. You're not sewing through, so I'm going to go through this one first and then I can make sure this is flopped out of the way. See what it does there? It's trying to eat my fabric because I don't have very much interfacing on it. That is the curse of the industrial machine with lighter fabrics. But we're gonna make it work. It'll be okay with the exterior because I did use a medium woven the medium EB fuse, so it's a little bit heavier. Definitely, this quilting cotton must be a little lighter than what I usually use, but it's okay. All right. Make sure this one is flopped out of the way. Put it on the other side. Do you know what, Karen? Mine doesn't have markings either. I should show you what I use. So I do have this magnetic seam guide, and I also have a piece of yellow tape that I just got at the hardware store. And I just put one of the numbers at the center needle, and then it's got like 1/8, 1/4, 3/8, half, and this is what I use for mine because I don't have markings on mine either. So it's just a masking tape, and so it doesn't, I change it out almost every project or whenever it gets a little bit worn out. See here? Do you see that? That's what that is right there. It helps so much. It's such a simple thing. And then I just put my, you can buy these at Emmeline bags. And I just put it along like I'm doing 1/2 inch. So I have my needle centered with my number 12 on this ruler here because that was the next one up. And I just put this at that 1/2 inch line. And then I get a somewhat accurate. Masking tape seems to stick pretty good. I mean, I do have to replace it every couple projects, but that's okay. Okay, so we're doing the exterior. Once you have these all done, if you're ahead of me, you can go ahead and you can press that seam open. Are we staying lined up still? We are. Okay, so I'm going to take these over to my iron. So you're going to see my back for a moment and press. We're just going to go ahead. Oh, wait, maybe not. No, I lied. Ignore me. What we want to do is we are going to be pushing the seams to this side. So what I want to do to reduce some bulk here is about 1 inch or so down. I'm going to just make a little bit of a clip, like so, and open that seam up like that, and then just baste those in place. And that's just going to help reduce some of that bulk right where we will be sewing these together when we put it all together later on, just in these top corners here. Same with this one here. So open it up. You want the seams to be going towards the side panels, like so, except for right about 1 inch or so down. And I'll show you what that tape is. And it's just a Scotch masking tape. Canadian Tire, Home Depot, Walmart. You should be able to get it at one of those places. I had a subscriber send it to me because that was what she used, and it's perfect. Okay, so we're going to baste these open. Okay, and then when we're done basting that open, while we're still at the machine, we're going to make sure our seam allowances are going out that way, except for where we're open here. And we are going to top stitch through the side panels all the way down. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. Maybe I will split the screen this time. Oops. Turn off this. There we go. So that's where you can see. I guess you can't really see it because the light kind of blows it out. But. Okay, so first off, I'm going to baste those little areas open. Just to keep those seams open. Okay. And then we're going to go ahead and press those seams nice and tight towards the side panels and top stitch the 1/8 of an inch seam allowance through that side panel. So I'm kind of just stretching my fabric this way to make sure it's nice and taut, all the way down to the bottom of this side panel. Do the other side and the other panel. Nice and tight. I could have taken this to the iron and pressed it, but I'm lazy. That's the lining done. And it's just 4 o'clock now. We're so going to get this bag done today. Even with me not having interfaced it at the beginning of class. I won't be going to the cylinder arm machine at all. I'm going to do it all on my flatbed today. Make sure this is pulled nice and taut. So. So now it's time to grab our fleece. While I'm grabbing my fleece, I am also going to go and wake my iron up. It can start getting warm. Okay. And you can use the fleece pattern piece if you want to. I just like to use these as my guide. So first off, we're going to trim across this bottom. Let me just make sure I'm not getting ahead of myself. Nope, I'm not. Okay. Sometimes I go rogue. I don't want to do that. Okay, it's 4 o'clock. If anybody has popped in as we're now at our normal class time, please do say hi. We started class an hour early today. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm just trimming off this excess at the bottom. So I'm lining my ruler up with where these box corners on the sides are. And then just trimming it up nice and even like so. Same with on this one. And then just make sure we didn't accidentally open up our pocket, and we didn't. So we got those done, and we can grab our exteriors, our backs, and we just want to make sure that they are the same size. And ta-da, they are. So I need to trim up my interfacing in these two. And this one. And then we're just going to use these pieces to cut out our fleece and then fuse our fleece on. Not the lining pieces, just the exterior pieces. Okay. So put your two lining pieces aside for now. And I have a big enough fleece piece that I think I can cut them both at the same time, I hope. Oh yeah, I should be able to. So I'm going to fold it in half, see if that's big enough. Nope, this way. See, I'm lucky because I always buy my interfacing by the bolt, so I can make these nice long lengths if I need them. Fleece has everything stick to it. And I'm just going to put my pattern piece down, or not my pattern. You can use your pattern piece. I'm going to use my actual back piece. And then I'm going, and this is going to cut both pieces out at the exact same time. This is exactly what I do with foam as well. I always leave it till last and use my front and back panels just in case they end up being a different size than the pattern pieces. The paper ones, because sometimes that happens depending on how good your seam allowances are, how accurate they are. And then you can go ahead and fuse your fleece onto these two panels. So you're going to see my back for a moment because I've got to go all the way back there to do this. So I will put it back up to face and you guys will see my back over in that area there. And hopefully you'll still be able to hear me. So I will be right back. But I'm going to need my spritzer. Okay. So again, make sure you don't keep, if you've used the little vinyl area there, make sure you don't keep your iron on that vinyl area too long. Short spurts type thing. Lots of steam or whatever your fleece calls for. Some may be dry, I'm not sure. Okay. I don't work with fleece very often. It seems my next couple projects, I'm working with fleece a lot. And it feels weird on the pocket side because there's so much bulk right there. Just do the best you can to get it all fused on. But don't melt that vinyl if you've used vinyl like me. And I wouldn't use anything too much heavier than fleece because we need this to squish. Am I out of water in this? Nope. I always find fleece takes extra long to fuse on too. I do not know why that is. Okay, I think that piece is done. Where's my water level in here? Can't see the chat right now. I will double check it when I get back. more seam. Not quite stuck there. Does anybody have any tips or tricks on how to get fusible fleece to fuse faster? When I use my press, it does it pretty good, but I rarely use my press. My press doesn't keep a very even heat, so. Okay. I think we're done. Ouch. Hi, Diane. How are you? Okay. Where are you at, Karen? Diane, you won't believe it. I cut out all my interfacing for 4 projects. You can see my pile of tutorials and custom orders back there. Fused them all except for the class one. So first 15 minutes was fusing on my woven interfacing. All right, so I'm just going to trim my excess fleece. If you have excess fleece. So this July of not doing live classes, I mean, I've been working hard. I've gotten the tumbleweed class. I have just the 4th class to film now. And then I have to film the duplicity class. So I'm putting all this work into June, but it's going to be nice to just only have to work part-time in July. So will all of you be joining the July classes still? I hope so. They're really good ones. If you haven't already, make sure you go and get your patterns with the discounts because they expire in a couple days. Okay, so we can put these aside for now. And now I'm going to grab this panel here and I am going to put my zipper pocket on it. So this will be kind of, because we've done this before, this will be super fast. Again, I'm going to show you. You're going to witness how I do this on a day-to-day basis because I do pockets all day long. All day long. Okay, so I'm going to quickly put my zipper pull onto my zipper tape. Right here. You got the patterns? Excellent. Lots of good new stuff to learn in both of the July patterns. Okay. Here we go. So again, this is an added in thing I'm doing instead of all the slip pockets. I will also be using this pocket to close up the bottom of this bag when we're done. But you're more than welcome to do it as per the pattern as well. Okay, so I'm going to find my top and bottom centers of my back piece. So this is my lining. Oops. Okay. Awesome, Diane. In the duplicity, I pretty much follow the pattern 100%. I might do some of the pockets different. I don't remember. They're both, there's 2 drop-in linings in that one, which just seems crazy to think about. But okay, so I'm just going to speed ahead and do this. If anybody has questions of what I'm doing, just ask. I know we have done this before. I do have a class on how to do a zipper pocket with overlay for easy turning in my Bag Makers 101 playlist. I'm just assuming you guys know how to do this already because we do this with almost all of them, but if you are not sure, please do stop me and ask. So I am actually going to put this one 3 inches down, nice and centered along the top of my overlay. So this, I need to move this to the 4.5 mark. Okay. The tumbleweed tote is a little bit challenging, I find, but they're really good sellers. Make sure this is centered. Move it over just a smidgen more. Went a little too far. Close enough. So this is a good time for you, Karen, to do your lining pockets. So we'll kind of work on our own here while we do our linings the way we want them. I'm also going to prepare my zipper pocket zipper at the same time. Then usually this would have been for homework. You're anxious to make the tumbleweed, anxious good to make the tumbleweed, Diane? And again, even though I won't be there during the live classes, you can always message me with questions. And I do have tutorials for both of the bags already on the channel from when the patterns first came out a year or so ago. So the only tutorials that are being added are the cutting tutorials. I've made a cutting tutorial for the public side and for the membership side. They're both pretty much the same, except I made them separate so the members in the comments, only the members can see the comments, where the public side one, it's for everybody. So the cutting tutorial for those 2 bags will not launch to the public side until classes are over, just to keep it fair because they're the same videos. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and sew these. All right. Again, I always pull my threads long. So I don't think it's going to show in this one. I'm going to actually do 1 back stitch, because this thread pretty much camouflages into this vinyl for some reason. My tension is good. This thread is like the perfect match for the brown in this lining. Believe it or not, we are almost done this bag. And I'll put the double view back up when we go to put the bag together because you'll be able to see things better. But for this, I know you guys know what I'm doing already. You will like the tumbleweed, Diane. It's a nice challenge. And it might not be a challenge for you. I have always myself struggled with train cases. But what's nice about this train case is it isn't bound. And you know, I like binding, but in train cases, I find it very hard. I don't know why. But this one, it isn't. So she teaches us some new methods, which is great. So you guys can see as I'm showing you how I sew day to day, I do it slightly different than the classes because I would actually take all my pieces and get them prepped for sewing, all the ones I possibly can, and then take them to the machine and do all the sewing, and then go back and do all the table work I possibly can, and then back to the machine. That is how I usually sew. So we're kind of doing that this way today. And I just find it makes for faster sewing. Oops. Ah, I ended my zipper. I didn't want to do that. We can fix it. Do back up without coming off. Okay, so I'm going to just go ahead and quickly press this open. Because I opened up my zipper here, I'm going to just baste that end closed so I don't lose my pull too. So first tumbleweed class will be next Tuesday, and it will be the cutting. Oh man, my threaded came out of my needle. Let's see if I can thread my machine while on camera. The pressure, come on. There we go. Try this again. Okay. I'm just sewing my zipper, basting my zipper closed at the end here because my pull almost slipped off. It opened up, so. Okay. Again, my favorite way of doing zippers, as you guys know, so easy, looks so neat and professional. Karen, let me know when you're all done your lining stuff. You might be meeting me. Could be beating me. Again, I love my new Kai scissors. They're amazing. I need to find some Kai pinking shears, I think. I've always just used really cheap scissors. Well, they were Gingers, $50 from Michael's that I bought like 5 years ago, but I don't know, these ones are just special. I really like them. Okay. Diane, you made 2 of these bags already. How long did they take you to make cut to finish, do you figure? I'm thinking it's about 4 hours cut to finish. You're pretty fast, so maybe even 3. Again, this zipper pocket is not part of the pattern. I'm just adding it in instead of all of the slip pockets. Just because I like finishing my bag with an open zipper pocket a lot better than closing up the bottom other ways. So, and I do my linings almost exactly the same, as we all know, in all bags. This one is probably mine unless my client, who also might want it, snags it up. But yeah, we'll see. Finish the zipper pocket. About 4 hours. So I figured too. Okay. Come on, threads. Make sure those are butterflied open, and they are. Oops, we shifted a little. Let's put you up. There we go. Yes, I know I'm being a little lazy because I didn't put my threads to the back. But it's not that noticeable with this one. It's going to be all full of yarn anyways, and it's going to most likely be mine. So. That looks a little bit crooked. Let's straighten that out a little bit. There we go. Okay, and then in this zipper pocket, we're going to leave that bottom open. I'm going to trim off my excess here, just up my zipper pocket lining. And then I sew as close as I can. I pull this bar as far as I can and then sew within 1/4 of an inch of that. I like to go back and forth over the zipper tape. And when I get to this bottom, I just fold it up by like 3/8 of the inch-ish. And that gives me my nice finished edge for when I seal this up later. Cut my threads. Do the same with the opposite side. And fold this up, both sides. Okay. After 4, we're doing pretty good. We're gonna get her done. It's still so warm, holy moly. Okay, and then I can trim up these seam allowances. How are you making out, Karen? Whereabouts are you? It's the Karen and Brandy show today. For the live show anyways. And anybody that's watching this after the fact, if you have questions, make sure you ask. So I got my folded under edge here, so that means I can go like this and kind of pop it around and pull it out and see how it gives you that nice folded under edge so you don't have to worry about it later. I'm going to quickly go and give that just a little bit of a press, just sewing the zipper in. Okay, let me know when you're all done and then we will move on. And there we go. Okay, so my lining pieces. I have my exterior pieces. Let me see where we're at. Okay, next will be the handles. Now in the tutorial I didn't put the handles in the right place. We will make sure we put them in the right place with this one. I'm just making sure I'm doing things in the right order while I wait. Let me know when you're done. We're almost there. Okay. We are so close to being done. Now I'm not doing the D-rings for a crossbody strap for this. Honestly, it looks really weird. Jessica Oakleroots did one with it, and she didn't like it that much either. It was kind of sits on you funny. But if you think you will be carrying a project bag that way, you can definitely add one in. But I'm not going to be with this one. I looked at this one. When it's all cinched up, the D-rings would be right here, and it just, I don't know. I don't think it cinches as much with the D-rings right there either. I didn't put them in this one. I prefer it without. Now, how long am I doing these? I can get these ready. So I'm just going to cut my two, I'm making a medium, so I'm cutting two 13-inch handles with my webbing. Just to be ready to go. Pocket complete. Awesome. Okay. Were you using webbing for your handles, Karen? I am just going to melt the ends of this a little bit if I can find my iron. Not my iron, my lighter. I have lighters everywhere. I lose stuff all the time. Can somebody please come and clean my studio for me? I just have not had time, and it is such a disaster. There's one. You can make them whatever you want. I'm just doing it as per the pattern. So they're going to be nice and centered right here and stick up about that much. If you want them longer than that, definitely do them longer than that. But I'm just doing them like a grab handle. So you will lose about 1/2 inch. These ones were 13.5. But I placed them in the wrong place. These should have been more centered with the seam, and I didn't do that. So yeah, it's calling for 13.5 for the large, 13 for the medium, and 12.5 inch for the small. But you can do whatever you like. I'm doing 13. But it's completely up to you. If you're using it as more of a tote bag, you may want to do them larger. Okay, so I'm just going to melt the ends of these, because I don't want them to fray later on. You could use seatbelt webbing here as well if you preferred, or you can make your own handles. Just make sure you do melt them. I got tape on here. Come off tape. There's really no wrong length for the handles. I said I'm just following the pattern, but you can do them however you like. Okay, so what we want to do is on our front and our back, let's find our top and bottom centers of our exterior pieces. By matching up that seam there will help. Where our pocket piece joined, that'll be nice and centered. Where'd my scissors go? Oh my gosh. I just had you. There you are. Same with along the bottom. My grab handles in handbags, I usually do anywhere between 13 and 16 inches, depending. And you're doing them in leather, so yeah, that'll work. That's one thing my clients like about being able to order bags is they can decide, oops, that's making some there. They can have preference for their handles and straps because, I mean, we're all different body sizes, and sometimes a shoulder strap, depending if you're a bustier person or what have you, then yeah, you may need a longer one. Hi, Kim. No worries. We started class early today at 3. Okay, so we're going to take our exterior piece first, and this is something I did wrong in the tutorial. In the tutorial, I put this right up against this seam here and this seam here, and you can see it just made my handle look kind of wonky. What I was supposed to do was make this as centered as you can with that seam, so it's half on this panel and half on that panel. Clip it in place. Oops. Bring it around. Make sure you aren't twisted. So when you flip it up, it's good. And center this best you can along that seam there. Clip in place. How's the new house, Kim? Did you get your sewing room set up yet? Again, make sure you're not twisted. And then we're going to take our exterior piece. We're going to match up that center there. And we can kind of use our placement here for a placement of these straps. So, got this nice and lined up. I'm going to pull this down just a smidgen. And then kind of line it here and clip it here. You can also measure in between the marks if you wanted to from the center, but I think this is just easier. Bring it around, make sure it's not twisted, and bring it up. Okay. And then just kind of put them back to back to make sure those handles align up, and mine do. And we're going to go ahead and base those in place with 1/4 of an inch seam allowance, and I'm going to go back in with 1/8 of an inch as well, just to make sure they're nice and secure. Quarter of an inch. And then another 1/8 of an inch. And then of course when we go and sew these all together, there will be another line of stitching at the 1/2 inch. So these should be nice and secure. Again, make sure if you're using webbing that you have melted those ends so they won't fray. There's nothing worse, like this webbing can sometimes be horrendous. Make sure I got that straight, yeah. Because if it frays, it can come out of the seam, and we definitely don't want that. But if you melt those ends, that should do the trick. Don't know if seatbelt webbing is the same, has the same issues, but. Oh, Kim, I can't wait to see your sewing room once you get her all done. But you're loving your new house? Worth all the effort, I'm sure. I know closing was a headache for you. And the last one. Okay, and those should be nice and secure now. Alrighty. Turn this one back on. Turn on. Let me just fix, I turned them off in the wrong order. So now it's giving me problems. So it's going to look weird for a moment here. I apologize. Why are we not coming back on? Don't mind me, I'm trying to figure out what's going on with my cameras. What the heck is going on? Please hold. Oh my gosh. No, not that one. Let me turn it off. If I turn these off in the wrong way, we have nothing but problems. Okay. So let me turn this off, turn this on. There we go, fixed. I am actually looking into a new Mac computer. It's just, I have to say $2,600 for it. It's crazy expensive. Where I don't have to switch, it'll have enough USB bandwidth to run all the machines and my microphone, so we wouldn't have as much background noise, but I have to save the money. So the coffee account will be going towards that, but it's $2,600 for the machine, but it's meant for exactly what I do. So alrighty. So again, make sure that they line up nicely. See, mine do. Make sure they're not twisted. Mine aren't. Okay, we can set these aside for now. And then you want to grab your channels. Are you here now, Karen? Is this about where you are? Okay, so now what we want to do, actually I'll just double check to make sure I don't get ahead of myself. We have our two drawstring channels here. We want to flip these over, and we want to make, let me see, how much are we putting under? We want to make a mark on the back side to 1/2 inch on all four. Oops, that doesn't look very straight, does it? No, it is. Just how my interfacing is on it. 1/2 inch. Oops, that one's not. Okay, and then we're going to take these. You don't have to interface them, Karen. I just did them so my machine wouldn't eat them. I can't remember if I interfaced them in this one. I think I did, but you don't have to. No. So what we want to do is we want to take these edges and fold them into that line there, and we're going to go ahead and press all four with the iron. So I'm going to run over to the iron and do that quickly. But interfacing isn't needed. Come on, iron, turn back on. So this is folding those raw edges in by 1/4 inch on the short sides. And this is just to enclose those raw edges for the channel. Okay. So just like so, and then we're going to go ahead, and I'm actually going to top stitch from the wrong side because I'm going to do right along this line here because I want to make sure I'm catching these. So hopefully my bobbin thread will look good on this side. I'm sure it will. So we're going to go ahead and do that and top stitch those into place. So right along it's important that these things stay in. And I'm just going to kind of fold this up and over like this so I don't have to break my thread and chain stitch them. My bobbin side's good. Good, Tiffany. And do my other one. And I ran out of bobbin thread. Look at that. Okay. Let me just quickly change my bobbin thread. I hope that I have enough on here. I may have to wind a bobbin. I had 2 half bobbins full of this, but we'll see if it's enough. Opposite side. Okay. Alrighty. Okay, so we have those edges folded under. Now we want to take these channels and take up the long sides of each and fold them wrong sides together, like so, and give them a good press for both. So wrong sides together, so they end up being like this. So I'm going to run over to the iron and do that quickly. All right. Just like so. And then you want to fold these in half, and along that wrong edge, or the raw edge, you want to mark the center along these channels. So I'm just folding it in half and doing a small snip through all the layers. Just like that. Same with the other side. If I get too far ahead, please do stop me. Just like so. And make sure that those centers match up, and they do. Yay! Okay, then we want to take our 2 exterior panels. Whew, I'm warm. And we want to take our channel, match up that center, and clip it into place. And that is going to sandwich your handle. And these won't go all the way to the end, like so. You don't want them to go all the way to the end. I'm actually thinking mine might be a little bit longer than they should be. So I am actually going to go ahead, because we've got to remember we want a 1/2 inch seam allowance here, and I don't think that's giving me a 1/2 inch on either side. It's giving me about 1/4. So if you think yours are too long, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to fold this in another 1/4 of an inch. So just fold it over top of that, and I'm going to do another row of top stitching to hold those in place because I think that'll be better. That'll be much better. So I must have cut these channels to the large size when I did it. So I'm just going to quickly shorten them up a little bit. And if yours are fine, go ahead and you can baste them to the tops of both of those exteriors. Oops. Easy fix. But you definitely don't want these channels to get caught in those side seam allowances. So make sure you have at least about 3/4 of an inch from those where those side seams will be on either side. So we need these short ends to be free. So yeah, I must have just cut them to the large size, I think, by accident. There we go. So that'll shorten them up another 1/4 of an inch, which will be perfect for me. Or maybe the pattern calls for that. Let me double check. Maybe I did it wrong to begin with. Oh yeah, we were supposed to double fold it like that. So yeah, I did do it wrong, but now it's all fixed. Whoopsies. So now you'll see, so yeah, they have to be folded over because then we would have had that raw edge on the inside that we didn't want. So make sure they are folded over. And when you put them along here, make sure you have at least like that 3/4 of an inch or so on either side, which we do now. And then we can go ahead, let's make sure these are still our centers. And it is. And we can clip that in place. That makes sense what I just did there? That was a slight mistake on my part. So fold in and fold in. It's not looking right for me here. Let me. That's better. How are you making out there, Karen? So again, make sure that we're like 3/4 of an inch from each side. So when we do that 1/2 inch seam allowance, we're not going to be sewing into these. Same with the back side. Match up that center. Clipping on the channels, and you've got enough on the sides. Did you see where I went wrong there? Super easy to fix that mistake though. I just skipped a step by accident. Good thing that I noticed that they were longer, because otherwise I would have had that raw edge inside, and that wouldn't have been that would have been no good. Okay, and then I think we can baste these on with a 1/4 of an inch seam allowance. Yeah, 1/4 inch seam allowance. Now I'm not going to do the ruffle channel. I think there is one in here. The front exterior laid flat. Take the first channel piece. Oh, let me see here. Oh no, I'm thinking something different. We're going to go across these with a 1/4 of an inch to a 3/8 of an inch based seam allowance. That's one. We're getting there. There we go. Karen, are you going to be doing the optional ties? I am doing the ties. So this is what we got so far. Looks just like this. No ties for you? Okay, so I'll show everybody how to do the ties quickly. How long do I need to cut my ties? There's my thing for the ties. How long are the ties? My handles. Ties. 18 inches or so. Oop, I tied it in a knot. So I'm just using, I think this is called twill tape. I don't know. You can use whatever you like for it. 40. I'm actually only going to go, I'll go 16. I'm going to do a little bit shorter because I found my last ones were just a little bit too long. Okay. And much like what we did on these ends, we just want to fold the raw edge in once and then twice. So that raw edge of that twill tape, if you're using twill tape like me, is tucked under. So there's no raw edge to fray. And then we will just top stitch that little fold in place. You want to do that on 2 of the ends. So 1 on each end of each tie. And that's just the finished end. You could also probably put a zipper end on it if you wanted to. So I'm just going to go ahead and sew across there. I'm not going to switch cameras. It's only going to take me 2 seconds. And it's just to hold that raw edge under. If you're using a non-fraying material for this, like a little leather tie, of course you wouldn't have to do this. Okay, I'm going to do my other side. What these ties are for are if your bag is really, really full and you just want to give it a little extra security to make sure nothing is falling out, you can tie these ties up. So I'm just going to go over that one again. I didn't catch it quite. There we go. Okay. That's what we got. We got them under. So now what we want to do, have these wrong sides up, so that little end we had under. And we're going to have it nice and straight, and we're going to put this nice and centered right there. And put that in place on one. And same, take the raw edge of this one, and it's wrong side up, nice and centered, and then just go and baste these just across there with a 1/4 inch seam allowance. And that's as easy it is to add the ties. Super easy if you decide you want them. Again, I'm just basting them. I didn't bring them over to the machine just because it takes like 2 seconds to do them. Alrighty, are we ready to finish this up? We're so close. So what we want to do, so we're going to do the exterior and the lining slightly different from one another, but almost the same, but we're going to do them at the same time. So we're going to take our exterior panels. We're going to make sure our ties are down and out of the way. I'm going to actually put them under like so. And make sure you have your top and bottom centers marked. And we are going to put these right sides together. Match up the sides and the bottom. Clip in place. Again, you want to make sure when we're sewing these sides on that we do not sew through these channels because we need them free and clear. So if you think about it, we've been sewing for 2 hours, pretty much sewing the whole bag, and we're almost done. So it is about a 4-hour sew. So again, make sure your ties are out of the way. Match up this side. Because I think you guys can see how close we are to being done. Oops. Come on, fingers work. And we spent the first 20 minutes chatting and using my interfacing because for some reason I cut the interfacing and didn't fuse it. Now we want to do the same along the bottom. I can see I'm a little uneven here because I had some bad cutting. So I'm just going to even it up. And clip across the bottom. Okay, set that aside for now. Grab your lining pieces. We're going to do the same thing. I got to mark my top and bottom centers, but we are not, this is where we're doing it slightly different than the pattern because we are not going to finish up the bottom. We're going to finish the entire bottom through the zipper pocket that I added in. Now, if you didn't add in the zipper pocket, definitely follow the pattern for how they finish this up. But this is my favorite way of finishing a bag, and I do this for almost 9 out of 10 of the bags I make. So it just gives a nice seamless finish at the bottom of the lining later on, and it makes it super easy for turning through and making it so you don't accidentally dislodge your say your interfacing or whatever if it's not sticking properly. Okay, so we're going to put these right sides together. And just clip the sides. Diane can see it. You've made 2 of these, you know exactly where we're at. Again, I've got my opening in my bottom of my pocket. We'll be using that later on. We're not worrying about boxing corners or the bottom. Leave the bottom completely open. Okay, let me just double check my seam allowances here. Okay. Pretty sure I know what I'm doing here. Is it a 1/2 inch? Bear with me. Yeah, it is. Okay, so for our exterior panel, we're going to do a 1/2 inch down, 1/2 inch across, leave the box corners open, and a 1/2 inch up. Again, making sure you don't sew through those panels, those channels, which they are out of the way, so we should be fine. For the lining, we're going to do it slightly different. Again, we're going to leave the bottom open, but to about 3 inches or so down, we're going to sew with a 1/2 inch seam allowance. And then by the time we reach the bottom down here from about that 3 inches, we're going to branch out to a 3/4 of an inch seam allowance. So it'll be half inch, half inch, half inch, half inch to about 3 inches-ish down, and then gradually branch out to 3/4 of an inch to here, and the same with this opposite side. So half inch to about 3 inches down, so half inch, and then branch down to 3/4 of an inch. And what that's going to do is make it so your lining isn't saggy inside your bed. It's making the lining just that little bit smaller than the exterior, but it's important that for that first 3 inches, it's a half inch, because then it gives our top openings where we'll be attaching these the same circumference around. So very, very important to have a half inch and then branch out to the 3/4 of an inch. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to switch cameras so you can see both of the cameras. Make sure I didn't bump this camera with my chair. No, we're okay. Okay. So we're going to start with the lining. I'm actually going to box the corners at the same time here. So I think you'll be able to see that on both cameras. So first, let's start out with that half inch seam allowance all the way down. Once again, making sure you're not sewing through those channels. My foot goes right beside it, so that's good. And I'm going to back stitch quite a bit here because I don't want that to give way. And half inch all the way down for the exterior. Okay, cut your thread. Where'd my scissors go? There they are. Same across the bottom. Half inch. And up the other side. Again, making sure you're not sewing through that channel. If we've done it right, we should be good, and I'm good. Okay. Grab your side panel. Thank you, Diane, for checking that seam allowance for me. I appreciate it. So again, for the lining, it's a little bit different. So we're going to start at that half inch seam allowance. To about 3 inches or so in, and then after you get to that mark, you can go ahead and you can slowly branch it out to 3/4 of an inch. We're not going to worry about the bottom right now. We're leaving the bottom open. Okay, I'm starting on the bottom edge of this side, so I'm going to start at a 3/4 of an inch, and then when I get to the top, make sure I am at a half inch. So it's only because I'm doing it opposite what the other side was. 3/4 of an inch, and as I come near the top, about 3 inches before the top, I'm going to branch back down into a half inch. We're almost there. Okay, so this is what that lining looks like. See how we started at a half inch, and then it gets nice and wide down here? That's what we want. I'm going to just go ahead and trim just this wide seam allowance down a little bit. Don't trim the top part, just this little bit if you want to. Now, similar to what we did to when we did the pocket things, I want to take away some of the bulk at the top for when we go top stitching. So about 1.25 inches down, I'm going to do a little slit without going into my seam allowances or past my stitching, and I'm going to open just that 1.25 inch seam open, hold with clips, and we're going to end up basting these open, and this is just going to help reduce the bulk when we go to top stitch this. So we want to do that on the lining panels and on this, just on those top corners. So a little snip and open up that seam allowance. This is something I learned from Hills Handmade, and I will do it for everything. This solves my problem for the Trailblazer having all that bulk right at the zipper. So this is really, really good. Now, what we're also going to do while we're here, we're not going to be boxing the corners of the lining. You'll just do the snips, but we are going to box the corners of our exterior. So you're going to pull the exterior out like so, bring the side and the bottom seams together. You can open up those seams if you want, but I'm just going to nest them seam to seam, like so, and hold that with clips. Nice and even, and then we are going to sew across these with a 1/2 inch seam allowance to box those corners. Okay, so when you go to do this opposite side, make sure your bottom seam is going in the same direction as it was on the opposite side. So open it up. Yeah, you don't need to interface them. Rhonda, let me know if it tries to eat up your channels, but it shouldn't because you're sewing through all the layers, so it should be fine. I can't remember if I did it on the other ones or not. But my cotton is really thin, so again, I'm making sure the seam is going the same direction as it was on this side, nesting them together and clipping in place. So on this exterior piece, we have our corners ready for boxing, as well as we've opened up these seams by 1.25 inches or so on the top. The lining, we're leaving the bottom open, but we are going to baste these seams open as well. And that just helps reduce that bulk. Just like so. Same with on this side. So now we're going to take these to the machine and baste these open and box the corners on the exterior. Okay, we're so close. Okay, so let's start with that basting first. Then I will have to check my, make sure I have enough, whatchamacallit. Okay, so just along, see I got my seam open on the bottom here. I'm just going to go ahead and just baste across this side part here by 1/4 inch or so, and that's just going to keep that seam open. You see that? See that seam is nice and open now? Same with the opposite side. Make sure your ties are staying out of the way. Make sure that seam is open before you go ahead and baste it. Okay, and while I have the exterior here, I'm going to go ahead and sew those corners. So I'm just putting it down here. You guys can kind of see on this side, this is there, and we're going to do these with a 1/2 inch seam allowance. So kind of press it flat. Oopsies. Make sure everything's staying nested nicely. So all the way across, and do the same on the other side. Make sure it's caught on both sides, and it was. Flip it over, do the opposite side. Okay, and then on the lining, just going to baste those sides open. Lining is always easier to work with because it's so floppy. And the opposite side. Again, you don't have to do this. I just find it really helps. Especially if you're working with vinyl bags, trust me. Or anything that has a top zip. It so helps to do this. Okay, let me just check my bobbin thread. I might be okay. If anything, I'll run out on my top stitch. You watch. Come on out. Uh-oh. My bobbin is arguing with me. I might be playing bobbin chicken. We will see. I'm running out of empty bobbins, so I didn't wind another one. Okay. All right, where are you at, Karen? We're into the finishing stages. We have 45 minutes. We are so getting this done. Corners boxed. You're all ready to go. Okay, so for these corners, I'm actually going to trim them down to 1/4 of an inch just to remove some of that bulk. I'm not going to worry about the side seams. I'm just worrying about these bottoms. Okay, you can turn this right side out. Double check that those box corners look good. See, I wasn't sure how big this bag was going to be as the medium. Until you actually get a box, you don't really know. Look how nice those box corners look. So this is actually going to be significantly smaller than the large size. Here's the large, and here's the medium. I actually like the medium size. It's like perfect. Okay. So now you want to make sure that you are keeping all your cord things out of the way. We're going to take our lining, which has the full open bottom, and you want to orientate your pockets where you want them to be. So I like my zipper pocket to be at the back of the bag. What did I do in this one? I did it right. So I have my zipper pocket at the back, and here's my front. So I know when I put it in, they will be, you have the back to the back and the front to the front. And I'm just going to put my hand in here and put these right sides together. Now, the ties, Rhonda, are for, say you have a really full yarn project in here, you can tie the ties to make it a little bit more secure, like this. I made these ties really long. I should actually shorten them up. And then you can cinch it up. And it just makes it a little bit more secure if you're worried about things falling out. They're completely optional. Okay, so this is what that looks like. You want to match up those top centers. Make sure your ties and your handles are down inside and not twisted. And you're going to match up that center and clip it. Same with the other side. Match up that center and a few clips to hold it in place. So I like to always clip them in quarter sections first and then evenly distribute the fabric the rest of the way. So on the sides, we want to match up these side seams. Perfect. And that's where you see with these being opened up, it just reduces that bulk. Now, if you were doing the crossbody straps, before doing this right here is where you would be basting in your D-ring connectors facing down. But I'm not doing them because I don't like the look at them. But you may, which is fine. So match up that center seam. And then match up the opposite side center seam. You are welcome, Rhonda. Okay, and then evenly distribute the fabric in between those quarter marks. We're in the home stretch. You can see this is where the pockets were, opening those up. That is just making a lot less bulk as well. Now, I usually at this point would go to my cylinder arm, but I'm not going to. I have had requests from people to see how I sew this together not on my cylinder arm and how I top stitch it not on the cylinder arm. So I'm going to show you guys how I do that on here. Now, of course, if you had a cylinder arm or a free arm, you would just be sewing it from the outside. But on my flatbed, we're going to be sewing from the inside. Now, was this a 1/2 inch around the top? Can anybody verify for me? Let me double check. Yep, 1/2 inch. So again, we have it all open in the back here. Make sure your ties are all hanging out. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to sew all the way around this with a 1/2 inch seam allowance. Again, if you're on a cylinder arm or a free arm, you can do it from this side of the bag. I am doing this on my flatbed, so I'm actually going to sew it from the inside of the bag because that's just a lot easier on a flatbed machine. So let me flip the camera over. And we will do that. And let's hope I have enough bobbin thread to do this and then do the top stitching. Wish me luck. Okay. So I've got my marker at the 1/2 inch. I'm going to put this in like so. And then work my way around. We are going to be top stitching it in the same manner. So I just kind of move my bag around like so. So I can work around the circle from the inside. I'm truly blessed that I have both machines in industrial version. I'm really, really lucky. I have a very understanding husband. But I do love how fast of a sew this one is. It is so satisfying. And I got to make a bunch of these for market because I think I'm going to be able to target the other crafters at the craft markets. I think it'll be a good thing. I actually had quite a few people ask me last year if I had project bags, and I did not. But I think if I take a weekend and sew a bunch of these, use up a bunch of my scraps, it'll be great. And because they're cottons, I can sell them at a lower price point so they don't cost an arm and a leg, which is good too. So I can sell these for under $100. Okay, flip over. So this is where we're at. Whereabouts are you, Karen? Make sure it looks all even, that everything was caught. I'm just going to double check that my ties are still free and clear, and they are. I'll just make sure that Karen is where I am. I don't want to get too far ahead. We're doing so good, even with my little oops this morning or this afternoon. Just sewing the top. Okay, I will wait for you. Whereabouts are you, Rhonda? I know you're sewing along with us right now too. Came in there. Is there anybody else that has stuck in? So I have Diane, Karen, Kim, and Rhonda. It's a small group today. Actually, from last week, the only one that's not here right now is Dawn. But that's okay. Okay. Top sewn. Okay, we'll just wait for Rhonda and then we will carry on. Are there any questions so far? Are you guys enjoying this sew? I'm curious. I'm sitting down in my very short chair right now. That's why I look like I'm so short. I need to get an anti-fatigue mat for when I'm standing because my lower back just gets so sore after a couple hours. Getting old is terrible. It's a nice one, isn't it? Karen, what are you thinking of the classes? You are one of our newest members, so I like to get a lot of feedback because I can't make them better without you guys. So, okay, you're done. So once we have all that, you can go ahead and turn it right side out through the full opening in the bag. How easy is that? Kind of give it a good tug to make sure it was all caught all along here as well as along this side. That our ties are free and clear, and they are. Okay, so then once you have that, you can go ahead and you can stuff the lining inside. It is a fun sew, hey? We've had some really tough sews, and July we're into some intermediate patterns as well, so it's kind of nice to have some nice easy sews. So stuff the lining inside. Now if you are on a free arm or a cylinder arm, you can go ahead and top stitch this, making sure your ties are out this way and your handles are out this way, and top stitch along here through the outside. But this is like the perfect size bag. I am so keeping this one for myself. I want to show you how to top stitch easily on a flatbed as it's been requested. I know Rhonda had asked me once. So once you have it out this way, so yeah, if you're doing a free arm or a cylinder arm, go ahead and top stitch around, making sure everything's up. If you're in a flatbed, turn your whole bag inside out. So your exterior is on the inside and your lining is on the outside. Now this is really easy to do with this bag because it is a all cotton bag. The penny in did you in, but your penny in turned out okay, Diane. But yeah, that was a tough one. Like, it even challenged me, as you guys know. They turned out great still, but it was tough. Chris W. Designs, some of the patterns are quite tough, but they are worth it. The Daryl's Drive was the same way, but it's one of my favorites. Maybe not to make, but once it's done, I love it. Okay, so we have it opposite what we usually do. And then what we're going to do, again, making sure that our ties are up and out of the way, and our handles are up and out of the way, and we are going to top stitch just like we sewed it together through the inside. And that's what I'm going to do, hoping I have enough bobbin thread. Now you just got to make sure it's all pulled nice and tight and go all the way around. Is that helpful? Does that make sense? Diane, it looked good. Okay, so yes, so I'm going to go and top stitch the exterior through this, and then we can turn it out later. So let's go ahead and do that. Let me flip us over. Does that make sense? Wallets aren't always the easiest to sew either. Speaking of that, everybody make sure you go to the YouTube community feed, because in 2 days the voting is ending. The Cassia satchel is so close to winning, and I so want it to win. The Mia wallet is beating it right now, and I mean, I'm okay making wallets. It's fine, but I really want to make the Cassia. So check out the Cassia in case you decide you want to change your vote, but no pressure. Okay, so I always like to start my top stitching because I'm going to back stitch at a side seam, and that way it's not as visible. Again, make sure everything is pulled out of the way. And go ahead, and you're top stitching underneath the channel. So the channel, the handles, and the ties are all up and out of the way, and we're top stitching underneath the channels along the top. And fingers crossed, I don't run out of bobbin thread. And this is how I top stitch on my flatbed. Or how I used to top stitch on my flatbed before I got a cylinder arm. Now I do all my top stitching on my cylinder arm because I'm spoiled. Make sure your lining and everything is all pulled nice and tight away. Now where the straps are, it might get a little bit thick. You may need a hump jumper there, just because you have now folded it kind of up and over. Just kind of manipulate your bag around. Again, make sure when you come around the other side that your handles and your tie are up and out of the way. Going this way. You don't want to be top stitching them downwards. I had enough. Now I'm going to have enough to finish the rest of the bag. Let me double check. I'm not. Look at this. Woo! So I'm going to have to quickly wind. Actually, I can probably get a different color bobbin thread. I'm going to do that rather than wind another one because it's not going to be seen. So I'm just going to go and grab another bobbin thread that's a different color so I don't have to waste time and wind one. This is not going to be needed for the rest. I've got a dark brown. That'll work just fine. From afar. Are you going to keep it for yourself, Diane? Your penny in? So yes, I won the bobbin chicken. Yay! Well, sort of. I don't have enough to finish the bag, but the bobbin's not going to be seen, so we'll just use a different color. Woohoo! Ladies, let me know when you're done that. We are so close to being done. So you can see my top stitch there. It looks good. All these are up and out of the way. Top stitch looks good on this side as well. I'm pleased with it. Your sister wants it C, so it can't be that bad. So sometimes we're our own worst critics. Trust me, my bags are never perfect, and that is part of handmade, but they are one of a kind. So the penny in is pretty amazing for all the compartments. I don't know if I would make any more. I think the two did me in, unless they are requested. So, but these two I will sell. But for wallets, my favorite wallets to make are the diamond clutch wallet and the necessary clutch wallet. But I just love how Chris W. Designs patterns challenge me, and they teach me so many different things. I may revisit it later on again, but I'm okay for now. Top stitch complete. Okay, we'll just wait for Rhonda. Now, Karen, did you top stitch like me, or do you have a cylinder arm or free arm that you top stitched on? I've probably asked you what kind of machine you have, and I never remember. Oh, and I see, you see the sew along class is fun. It is fun, isn't it? Again, you get to see me make mistakes and panic. Gratitude wallet is good too. Okay, so you are on a flatbed as well. Is that how you would normally top stitch on a flatbed, or do you usually kind of put it down like this? This works too, and top stitch around. I've done it both ways. But this is easy if you can turn it out easy. So, okay. So now go ahead and bring it right side out. Push out through the opening in the lining, your corners. Okay, now Rhonda, did you do a zipper? Because we're going to close this up through the lining in the zipper pocket. So if you didn't, you may have to turn yours wrong side out again and do your box corners. If you didn't do the zipper pocket, Rhonda, do the box corners and leave an opening in the bottom and then return it out. Karen, I think your 2010, oh, do you know what I used to do with my 2010Q? To make it a free arm? I used to put it up on books near the back of the machine, and then that stabilized it, and then on the other side, I can make my things go all the way around. I just raised it up. That may be something you want to do. I show you on my 2010Q, but my brother borrowed it, so. Okay, now to close this up, we're going to open up the zipper and pull out your zipper pocket. Okay, did you box your corners, Rhonda? Because if you didn't box your corners yet, you'll have to do that, but I'm assuming you have. Okay, so you're going to reach in through the pocket. You're going to grab the entire open bottom and pull it through the pocket. Okay. The first thing we're going to do is match up the long straight edge. We're going to sew that first. Clip it in place. This is my favorite way of finishing a bag. I just think it's so much easier to turn with a full open bottom, and then you don't get the seam in the bottom. Okay, perfect, Rhonda. Phew! I forgot to tell you to box them, so I'm glad that you did. Okay, so once you have that straight edge done, we're going to go ahead and sew across that straight edge with a 3/4 of an inch seam allowance. So I'm just going to switch this to Tiffany rather than switching all of the cameras around, and I'm just going across that straight edge again with a 3/4 of an inch seam allowance. Okay. All the way across. And we're using that wider seam allowance because we sewed the bottom of the bag at the wider seam allowance. So our lining would be a little bit more snug in the bottom of the bag. Okay. So once we have that done, I'm not going to go to the table. I'm just going to do it all at the machine here. And we are going to box the corners exactly like we did with the exterior. So you're going to pull them aside like so. You are going to nest those seams just like we did before and clip that side. So boxing exactly like we did with the exterior. Okay, I'm going to do the same with the other side. Pull it apart, nest that seam, make sure it's nesting the same direction on that bottom, and clip it in place. Okay, and then we're going to go and sew those box corners with a 3/4 of an inch seam allowance as well. So you can't really see what I'm doing here, but I'm just going across, just like we did with the exterior, across for 3/4 of an inch. Make sure I'm not getting any nips or tucks, and go all the way across. Okay, and across the other side. All the way across. And you can decide if you want to trim those seam allowances down. I'm not going to worry about it. This is a pain to turn. I should have done your way, Brandy. You're live and you learn. You live and you learn. Oh, I'm sorry, Rhonda. Yeah, this is just so much easier. Having that zipper pocket is always easier. So now, go ahead and stuff the lining back in through that pocket. Take a peek. She looks pretty good, you can see. And now we just got to close up that pocket. So we have that folded under edge already. If you didn't do the folded under edge, fold it under now. Clip that in place, and then we are just going to top stitch this pocket shut. And then the only ridge in the bag you have then is in the zipper pocket, and nobody's going to see that. Which is good because I'm using a different colored bobbin thread here. So let's go ahead and sew that up. Just with an 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. Alrighty, that's it for sewing. Did you get it through okay, Rhonda? It's not a very big opening that's left, so. Oops, I'm almost spilling my pop on myself. Okay, so once that's done, stuff that pocket in. I am truly loving the size of this. I am so keeping this one for myself. So keeping it for myself. All right. That's what that looks like. It looks pretty good. I've got my ties here, so they're on the lining side, so I can tie them shut. Now we just have, I hope I have enough, the webbing. I might have to go grab a different color of this. I don't have enough of this one. Let me see what I got. I think I'm going to have to go with cream, which will be okay. So yeah, I didn't have enough of my red paracord to get around twice, so I got a new thing of paracord. It's through. Oh, good. So you can use any kind of cording for this. You could use leather. Again, I just ordered this paracording off of Amazon, and I love it. The only thing is you do have to burn the ends, which I will show you my trick of burning the ends and to make sure that they're not going to fray, but I'm not going to do that just yet. Now you can either put this onto a safety clip or whatever. I use this thing. I do not know what it's called, but it helps me feed through stuff through channels really easy. So I'm just going to thread it through here. Can I get it through that one? Okay. So use whatever you're going to use to put it through. You can put a safety pin in and feed it through, or even if you got something like this that is a really big upholstery needle, that would help. But you do you. So we're going to end up putting this through twice. This paracord, Rhonda, I will send you the link to this. I got it off of Amazon, and it comes, you get a little package for like $20 of all those colors. It's really good. Okay, so I'm going to start on one side, and I'm going to feed it through the channel. You'll see how fast this thing goes through. It is so great. You have a cord threader? Excellent. Feed it through the other side, like so. Pull it through. It just makes it so much easier. Okay, take it and keep going through the other channel here. Feed it through. I think I just got this at like Fabricland or something. I think it's meant for putting elastics into waistbands. Yeah, Rhonda, if I forget, message me and I'll remind me, okay? And pull it through. Okay, so once you got that end through, kind of have this pulled out and see how long you want this to be. So I am going to cut it. Actually, that'll probably be good. I'm going to cut it right about there. Okay. And then I'm going to tie these two in a knot. The two ends. Again, I am going to have to melt these ends. Put through a nice tie. And what's good is when, if these ever wear out, or you can use ribbon here as well, you can always easily replace it. So now I'm going to trim this up like so, just that end. And I found, now where's my lighter? Where did I put my lighter? For these ones, I found if I just melted it, it didn't quite finish it off. So what I do is I melt it as much as I can, almost till it turns brown. Make it really, 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 really melty, those two ends. And then take a Wonder Clip and squish it. And it brings those ends together perfectly. I'm actually going to make it a little more melty everywhere. And then put this on and squish it and keep that there till cool. Now we're going to do the same. So where this end is, we want to work from the opposite side now. So do the same thing again. I'm all tangled up here. Let go. Get in there. We're going to do the exact same thing again, but through the opposite side. Come on. You going to stay in there? My end doesn't want to go through. Do you have a cord threader, Karen? Are you managing okay? Yeah, I just think this is, I think this is for elastic waistbands, but man, it works good for this. So you will see the cord from this side, from this one. That's what the side we want to work from. And we're going to do the same thing. Work through the side. Feed it through. Pull it through. You have a bodkin, perfect. Okay, so through the other side, feed it through the opposite side channel, all the way around. Yes, I think I definitely prefer the medium size of this one. I love the small one, but this medium size is like the perfect bag. So I'm gonna have to take a picture of all three sizes, so and take a picture so my clients see the different sizes. Okay, so once you have that through, you want it to be about the same length as the side. So kind of make it as long as you need it to be. Clip it. Tie your knot. Oops. Just like so. Trim it up. Play with some fire. Melt it really good. If you're using paracord, and clip it. I think I need just a little bit more melty. And you'll see with the melting on this side, I mean, it's not the prettiest in the world, but it is melted and it's not going anywhere. I have to get caught up on everything. Kim, this is the perfect sew for your first sew back because it's so fast and it is so fun. I love it. Are we cool yet? Look, it's already cool. So we've got our slip pocket, zipper pocket. I have my tie. If you did the tie, and then you just have to pull these. How cute is that? It's pretty cute. Handles are always a little bit weird on this one, I find. But it's super cute. I am so happy with it. It's a great design. What do you guys think? Good one? So do you want me to go grab my small one? I'll show you the difference in all the sizes. My small one is upstairs. So let me just run up and I'm going to show you the difference in the three sizes. So please hold. Bear with me. Look at my messy room. I'll be right back. Hey, Dexter. Dexter's following me. Oh, and the cat's in here now too. It's a big family affair. All right. So I'm kind of wishing that I did the handle like this one. I think it would be better. So let me put it back down and I'll show you the difference in sizes. So I'll open them all up. One has socks in it. Okay, so all opened up. Here's the large. Here's the medium. And my small one matches. And the small is way smaller. But perfect for sock knitting. And I think this is the ultimate project bag. So I have like a matching set right here, except for my paracord doesn't match. But that's the difference in the 3 sizes. You absolutely could do it on your 2010 Q, Kim. It is 100% domestic machine friendly. If anything, it was a little bit more of a challenge on an industrial because you're using such light interfacing. So yeah, so small. These ones are mine. If I did a medium again, I think I would do the handle like the small one. So there's that set. And this one is actually my client's, but that is the difference in sizes between the 3. They're significant differences. So these 2 are mine. I already have socks in this one. This is going to be probably for my next blanket I'm starting. This one is a client's. She has bought it already, so I can let her know it's hers to take away. But yeah, these are... Oh, do you know what? This isn't the small. This is a different bag. This is the Kato bag. I don't know what the small one is for this. This is the Kato bag. Same designer, different style bag, but mine match. So I'm guessing for the Maxine, the small would be about the same percentage smaller from the large. So this one comes up a few inches above the pocket, so I bet the small one would come to about here. Silly me, they're not the same, but these are my matching set. I loves them. And look, we did it in 2.5 classes. Actually, 2 classes, because the cutting, we only did a 45-minute class. And then this one, just slightly under 3 hours, so that's good. So this is such a quick sew. Diane and I were figuring that it would be a 3 to 4 hour sew cut to finish, so it's pretty good. And have you guys noticed? Look at all my empty space there. I sold a bunch of bags on the weekend, like 5. I sold 5 bags. I think 4 or 5 bags. And you guys want to see something adorable? I'm gonna put my camera down. Ignore my messy floor, but look at Dexter and the cat. They're playing. Dexter, do not eat my vinyl. Can you see them down there? Zelda is his mother. He loves her. She looks all mad, but she's not going anywhere. Dexter? Oh, why are you going after my vinyl? You bad boy. Yay. Why do go? What? Why do go where? What are you trying to say there, Diane? I don't understand. Or why doggo? Dexter's such a sweet boy. Oh, way to go. Thank you. Thank you. So it was my brother-in-law's 60th birthday on Saturday, as was my niece's 40th birthday on Saturday. And so we had a big party up at my brother-in-law's farm. The 40-year-old is his daughter. So I wanted to give Leah, my niece, a bag for her birthday. So I loaded my bags up, a lot of my bags, not my newer bags, not this bottom shelf, but like my older bags that are in the bags up top, because those are the ones I want to get rid of first because they're the older ones. They're ones I've had at market last year. But I want to let her choose her birthday purse. So she did. She chose the Annika. And then there was lots of people at that party, and they were all going through my trunk. And all the bags that I did take up there sold. I took 5 bags up there, and they all sold. One was one I gave to Leah, though, so yeah, so that was an added bonus. Not gonna complain. But yeah, Coco says hi. Anyways, are there any comments or concerns? I don't believe my animal's back there. Zelda, what are you doing? Let me grab my kitty cat. No, Dexter, let go of the cat. Ooh, yeah. So I never really introduced my cats, but this is Princess Zelda. She's 8. And she, oh, Dexter. She raised Dexter. She's Dexter's mom. And she is a cat. Oh, Dexter, go. Okay, out. No, I'm not feeding you the cat. Let's go. Out. Out. I'll put them out of the room. Dexter, out. Come on, go. Go on. You guys can go play somewhere else. Dexter, down. Oh my gosh, dog. Down. Dexter. Run. And they play endlessly all day. Like, she just loves them. She does have a cute face, hey? Her parents were siblings. My cousin had 2 cats that they thought were two female cats, and they were sisters, so they thought. And then when they took them in to be spayed, they found out one was pregnant and the other one was male. So she, her parents were siblings, but she's a really sweet cat, and she thinks she's a dog. And she did raise Dexter, which is really good. As you can see how much he loves her. And he's so much bigger than her, and he doesn't hurt her. She actually comes asking for it and then plays that, help me. All right. So if there are no questions, I can't wait to see everybody's Maxines. Again, thank you so much for understanding to get this class earlier today. Again, we did this in 2 classes, which is amazing. It's a nice and fun. So, yes, so next week, Tuesday, the Tuesday class is the tumbleweed tote. It will be pre-recorded, but please do in the comments of that video say here, so I know that you attended. Depending whenever you watched it, even if you didn't watch it on, if you don't watch it on the Tuesday, you watch it later, just please do right here in the comments, just so I can mark down who all was taking part in that, and also mark in if you will be making one, so I know who to ask for photos for at the end of the year. Yeah, so that'll go Tuesday, and then Thursday will be the duplicity, all pre-recorded for July. I'm working part-time for July, so just reach out if you have any questions. I'm 100% there for you. I just will not be there in the live chat for those months, but ask questions if you have questions. Email, Facebook group. You know how to get a hold of me. Use the group as well on Facebook. Lots of people can answer your questions as well. But yeah, I have to film the 4th class of that tumbleweed class tomorrow, and then I have to get the whole duplicity class filmed. So yeah, it's been a busy June because I've been filming those classes as well as getting my customer orders out. At the same time, those 2 classes are customer orders, so it's a win-win for me. I'm killing 2 birds with 1 stone. They're 2 of my favorite bags, and I chose them because on those months it is Teacher's Choice. So I really do hope you like them. Make sure, if you haven't grabbed the pattern, that you grab it, excuse me, tomorrow before they expire. They expire on June 30th, but I don't know what time zone they expire in, so make sure you grab them if you want them. All right, thank you everybody. I love you all, and I'll see you. I'm still going to be doing my lives every week, so make sure I will do my live check-ins every week still. It's just taking a break from the live classes, but still here for you. Okay, thank you everybody. I will catch you my next live. So there's no class on Thursday. See you guys later. Bye. No class this coming Thursday, that is. We are done until August. Go vote for your August bags. They come down on the 30th. Okay, I'm going for sure now. Bye.